in the private school were getting a better education. So if it's a matter of money, how do you account for that? Do you know what this doctor's answer was? I'm still amazed by it. This is why I tell the story all the time. He says, you have to understand that private schools do bake sales. That was the answer. I said, well, I'd sure like to have the recipe for those cakes. Well, a few weeks ago, more than a few weeks ago now, at the end of January, we had a school choice forum where we had panelists from around the country come and speak about education. And one of the gentlemen came from Colorado, the Centennial Institute, and he put together a policy paper on education. And I have them, several of them here, if anyone is interested. I'd encourage you to take a copy of that before you leave. Now, what I want to point out, and a lot of people in government have been saying, we have to deal with this education situation, let's come up with vouchers. The problem is, with those vouchers, there's too many strings attached. And I fought against that, and the founder of our local Christian high school, was accused of not preferring vouchers, that I was against school choice. Can you imagine? Just ridiculous argument. What I was opposed to was telling people that they could have public money to put their kids where they want, and then you dictating what those schools that can participate look like. And it was to the extent, they had a non-discrimination clause in there that Bucco was putting forward, that anyone who took the government money had to not discriminate against anyone for race, creed. And I said, wait, race, creed? A Christian high school or a Jewish high school, are you telling us that we have to employ a Muslim or an atheist if they come? And that was exactly the case. I said, this isn't going to fly. The schools I know that I founded will not take your money. So you're saying we're going to give these kids all this choice, but then you're going to limit it what that choice is. Another thing that we have to deal with, besides the obvious, besides the unions and the tenure and the merit pay for good teachers, is also our problem. Now, there may be a couple of people that may get mad at me for this. But here, how many people believe in limited government? Let me just have, great, so do I. Do you realize that we keep looking to government to solve our problems? You want limited government, I gotta tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, you better start standing on your own 2 feet. We had a problem up in Sussex County where I didn't like the schools. Everybody laughed at me. They said, what makes you think you can? Well, it makes you think I can. You know, we went ahead, it took 10 years to do it, but we got one of the finest Christian high schools, I think, in a large area, a large radius. And why were we able to do that? Because one person said, I'm not going to accept this. Do you know you have the power to do something about education? And it's not necessarily in legislation. You could go out and you could start a private school, and anyone who donates money to that private school, providing it's a nonprofit, it's a tax deduction. So why do we need something called the Opportunity Scholarship Act that everybody's promoting that says, now you can give your money to the state of New Jersey, and a committee will decide what Abbott district we give it to in order for those kids to have a scholarship. What? How is that? You could give your money, just ask Facebook. They gave a huge donation to Newark, didn't they? Yep. Anybody could right now make a donation to a private school that's a nonprofit and receive a tax donation for it without government interference. What they're proposing with the Opportunity Scholarship Act is now you give it to a state board who decides where your money goes. People, not all legislation is good legislation. Read the legislation. Don't just say, oh, this is great, this is school choice legislation, let's all get behind it. Read the legislation. And what I really, really want to leave with you is you don't want government controlling every part of your life. You gotta step up to the plate. and you gotta stop looking to government to solve all your problems. Thank you.